episode of the Tea with Tina podcast. Today, this is going to be a message to myself, but to everyone else as well. And it is, you need to have more fun with life. And this is anything. I've been seeing this pop up quite a bit. Let me share some instances where I feel like we need more fun. So one, there was an interview with, I don't know if he was a billionaire, but he was rich. He was a millionaire maybe. And he was an older man. And, you know, the guy was saying, is there any advice that you have for people out there who are trying to be successful? And the top thing he said was just to have fun, have more fun, have fun with it while you're doing it, right? So, okay, message heard. Maybe the universe is trying to communicate with me, right? Message two, I saw a TikTok where it showed, since at the time of recording this, New Year's just happened. It's the second week of the New Year, second week of January, and they showed the 2002 ball drop versus the, I guess it's 2024 ball drop. And the stark contrast between people was really sad. The 2002 video showed people cheering. I'm going to see if I can put a picture up here or maybe a little bit of the video.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy 2002!
The people were cheering and they were happy and everybody was jumping on each other. You could just tell that they were genuinely excited, and it was crazy to see that contrast with the 2024 because people were yeah, but everybody was just kind of swaying, and everybody kissed each other because that's what you do with the New Year's, but you could just tell there was that underlying tone of everybody being tired, right? And I feel like we're all feeling this for many reasons. There's been plenty of times where we have gone through struggles as a country, in the United States, as the world in general. And I think it's just one of these times. And there's ebbs and flows of things. There's times of great prosperity and happiness, and then there's times of struggle and building. And maybe we're in one of those times. But just because we're in one of those times doesn't necessarily mean that we can't have fun, right? You can always have fun. Always. No matter what, you can find the good in things, even if you don't have anything. There was people playing games, making up games with a stick and a rock or a ball. I'm thinking of, I don't even know when that would be, early 1900s, 1800s, with kids playing like that when they were poor and they didn't have any money. You can make fun wherever you're at, but it's up to you. And it's up to you to choose happiness. Right. I know I refer to this book a lot, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Viktor E. Frankl. I remember we read this in school. It was either middle school. I think it was middle school. And it was very powerful. It is about a man who, and this is a true story, this is his autobiography of him being in a concentration camp during the war, and how he held on to hope that he would get out and how he held on to hope that things would get better. And he persevered, and he talked about how people around him would write tallies on the wall. Like, and this really stuck with me. They would write the tallies on the wall, and they would almost predict the day that they were going to die. Like, they would just say, I'm going to die tomorrow, and they actually would. And it makes me wonder how much influence our minds have over how our body actually reacts. If you think it will happen. That can go for the negative and the positive. Not always, of course, but there's been many studies done on that. Like, there were studies done on people that were told that they were going to have a heart attack versus not being told. I don't know how this was a what's the word I'm looking for, but like a proper study, because that seems weird to mess with humans, but I'm sure they probably signed a waiver. And the people who were told that they were going to have a heart attack actually like thought about it, worried about it into a heart attack. So a lot of them had a heart attack, while the other people who weren't told anything, they did not have as many heart attacks, even though that they were at the same risks. So there's definitely been studies done on this. I believe that the placebo effect is also very powerful. The one that sticks out to me that can relate to this situation is people with asthma were given an inhaler that had no medicine in it. It was just air. And because they believed that it would open up their airways when they took the inhaler, when they used the inhaler, their airways actually opened. So that's pretty crazy. And there's many instances of that, taking various pills that were just sugar pills. But because they were told that they would have a certain effect, they believed it. And bringing that into the health and fitness space, because that's what we chat about here, I would argue that probably a lot of those quick fix fad diets have that placebo effect as well, because you believe it's really going to work. So you put a lot of extra effort, and maybe you take the extra time to notice changes in your body versus if you were just to do, exercise and change your diet. So I think that plays a big role into that as well. No, that just kind of brings into the whole realm, and me kind of setting the tone for you guys, that even through hard times, there is a way to have hope and create fun. And I just feel like there's been that atmosphere with everybody lately. The world is in a different tone than what it was maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I mean, people who lived through the 2008 recession probably can relate and see similar things. I was, that was 15, almost 16 years ago? Yes. So I would have only been, I would have been in school. I'm not doing the math right now, but I was young. Probably a preteen. So I remember it a little bit, but I don't remember it. So I feel like we're probably going through a lot of those similar things right now. With that, there was a lot of job loss, and the fun kind of gets sucked out because people don't have the money to do fun things, because fun can be expensive, but it doesn't always have to be, which is what we're talking about today, making things fun where you don't actually have to spend money, right? It's just about reframing your thinking too. And I've noticed that with myself, being fully transparent, as somebody who made the jump to go full-time in their fitness business, which I'm doing now, which is fantastic. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. There's so many benefits to it, but of course there's that unknowing of income until I get a little bit more consistent. This takes time. When you run a business, it can take a couple years for you to really predict like how much income you're gonna get, and there's no say that you're gonna have a handful of people cancel at once and you're losing a couple $1,000s in revenue. But with that, I've learned to kind of shift my mindset, and things that maybe I was doing before, if I had that consistent money, we would maybe more freely spend money on things that equaled fun in our eyes, like, going to a movie, spend money on that, or you're paying $50 to $100 to get into an event or concerts, or going out to eat at a nice restaurant. There's nothing wrong with those things, but there's also a way to have fun in a free way, like going on more hikes, or I've been getting into painting. Can you do activities at home, have a board game night, just get together with a group of friends, everybody brings something and you hang out. Like I said, outdoors has been a really big one for me, but there's little ways that you can do those things and still have fun. I also think the social media realm, not to get too preachy or weird about things, but I also think the social media realm has kind of primed us with, we're bombarded with advertisements all the time, and like, oh my God, you need to get this on Amazon, you got to get this latest product, you got to get this. So like in our brain, we almost think like, if we buy this thing, that's going to equal entertainment, that's going to give us our dopamine hit, that's going to give us fun. Right. And it can. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't have the money to spend, or, you're looking for more free things and maybe not materialistic things, even if you do have the money, like non-materialistic things, there is a way to have fun and incorporate that fun into your life. Okay. And the main thing that I saw that actually sparked this podcast episode that I thought was fun. And again, this is more so about reframing your mindset. Money, no money, it doesn't matter. Fun can be had for everybody. There was a post about New Year's resolutions, and somebody had said, if you have a New Year's resolution, when was the last time that it was actually fun, right? When we think of New Year's resolutions, we're thinking of work, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of like that hard work comes first. Like, I want to get a raise this year in my career, or I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. And they said, you know what my New Year's resolution was last year? I made it fun, and I wanted to try out all of the pasta shapes that there were. Okay, all of the pasta shapes, and they recorded it. So like all the different shapes, like pinwheels, cavatappi, shells. Gosh, there's so many. And they had fun with it. And I'm a believer, by the way, that different pasta shells do indeed have different tastes, and they suit different dishes differently. So like, shells, if you get the little shells, they hold little pockets of juice in them. So shells can be really great for mac and cheese, because when you bite into it, you get that juicy cheesiness. I also personally love cavatappi noodles for mac and cheese if you want it to be more luxurious. There's different shapes that they give different vibes to the meals. And, fight me on this, but I do believe that is a thing. So it got me thinking, like, why aren't we allowed to have fun? And I get, a lot of you may have very stressful lives and very crazy situations, because I'm met with that sometimes when I talk to people, or if I read through threads about fun, people kind of go into attack mode, and they're just like, well, I can barely pay my bills every month, and, I'm struggling to make ends meet, and this and that. And that's 100% valid. But don't you still think it would do you some good to learn to have some fun and some play in your life, to kind of take that burden off when you can? It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. A big one for me is thinking about nature and space. I know it sounds crazy, but like anytime that I was in a really low point in my life and I really was like out of control of things, I would find myself just kind of being outside and noticing everything that's around me. And I would notice the beauty and the simplicity of it. I would look up at the sky and be like, wow, the sky's so blue today. The sun is shining. The warmth is on my body. You watch the birds, because they just go about their lives. And there's something very peaceful about that. Same thing with space. Thinking about space, it's scary, but also calming at the same time, right? Thinking about how there's something out there so much bigger than us, and it's kind of just doing its thing. There's something calming to me about that. There's giant rocks out there floating around. There's a giant black hole. I have an irrational fear of black holes. Well, maybe not irrational, but there's a giant black hole out there somewhere just sucking stuff up in the middle of space. There's beautiful galaxies out there. There's that question mark shaped one out there. So there's a lot of interesting things, and we're just these tiny little humans on this rock floating around a ball of fire that has to pay taxes. So it kind of puts things into perspective for you, but it just even though we have to worry about paying bills, and we stress about life, and we stress about our family, and we worry about this and we worry about that, I don't mean this in a cynical way, but it kind of doesn't matter. And that's a freeing thing. It all doesn't matter. We're all going to die one day. Sorry, I don't mean to get morbid, but it's freeing and empowering knowing that you can just have fun and play in your life. If you want to wear silly socks to work one day, pick up dollar silly socks and just wear them. Be different. Maybe you have a uniform, and as long as you're not going to get yelled at, wear some silly socks. Try the different pasta shapes. Just do something fun. One of my favorite ones is like going to Goodwill. Although since thrifting has become trendy, I feel like people have ruined thrifting, but because it's like overpriced now. But to go into like a thrift store and have like you have to find an outfit to wear, and then you go out to eat like in that outfit. You can do it with friends, you could do it with a significant other, so that's kind of fun. But just like stupid little things like that. I would used to like collect rocks when I was at my camp. I would actually like collect different rocks because we had a big rock driveway, and the rocks were really cool. If you look through the rocks, you could actually see like seashell fossils in them, different kinds of fossils, and there was different granite, and there was different textures and colors, and I always try to look at all of them, and I actually would like line them up to make my own mini golf course. I know this is very specific, but light bulb child memory. We had like a cheap little like mini golf kit where there was like a little like, you know, the little plastic stand with a flag and a little plastic circle for the hole, and we had a couple putters and golf balls, of course. And well, we only had that one, and I was like, well, I kind of like, we'd always go to mini golf courses when I was growing up as a kid. It was just our fun little hobby. And I was like, well, I want to make courses. So I would get wood and I'd like line it up to make like different things and different shapes of things. And like, it was free, you know, I had the time, and I get I was a kid, but I think we need to bring that element of, it doesn't matter. We're not doing it to make money. We're not doing it to advertise. We're not doing it to please anybody. We're doing it simply to have fun, to play, right? And I mean, you can even do, like, it doesn't have to be this big crazy thing. You could just pick up an adult coloring book, pick up a kid's coloring book, paint on a canvas, put on Bob Ross and try to follow the Bob Ross painting tutorial and have a night with your friends, your significant other, your family, whatever. You can do so many things, and it can be great. Gamify your life. Fun, 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 right? Another thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was funny, well, not necessarily funny, but it's kind of like, okay, people really need to lighten up. And it was a troll that I got on YouTube. And maybe he's watching, I don't know. But honestly, these people, when you get somebody who's a troll and they just kind of say something negative about you on a post, it's usually a reflection of themselves. They're projecting their experiences and their viewpoints of the world onto you, and everybody has these unique views. Nobody actually has a real true view of the world. It's just made up of their past experiences and how they feel, and if they're in a bad mood or they hate themselves and they feel like the world owes them something, you usually get a troll, or they're insecure, and that happens. But this troll on YouTube, it was like, I made a fun reel. You could actually probably go back and watch it. Well, on YouTube, it's a short. And I saw this girl do it, and I thought it was funny. She was like, tell me you're a gym girl without telling me you're a gym girl. And it's the little pads, the removable pads. If you're a guy, you may not understand. But there's removable pads in sports bras and like all workout tops. It seems like, I don't know why they're there, because I don't take them out because I don't want my nipples to show. And you want them in there for the padding, but I just don't get the point of them being removable, and most girls don't get the point of that because it's annoying. Every time you wash it, the pads get like ripped out of the garment, and you have to shove them back in and straighten them out so they're not wrinkled, and it's just a whole thing. It takes so long, and it's annoying. So it's like, sew the pads in or sell them without pads, one or the other, or have both options. You know, we don't need the removable pads. And so what I did was I took all of my removable pads in this big stack, and I just kind of like threw them off like it was a stack of money. And that's kind of the way you know you're a gym girl, because you have all of those sports bras and pads and stuff. And this guy commented, and he was just like, you know, don't do yoga. You really need to be working out. And like, some people came, I will say, YouTube, for the trolls that there are, the maybe 10% of trolls, there are people that come to your rescue. I've always had people stick up for me in the comments, and they're like, what are you even talking about? Because I've actually been called too fat and too skinny within the same week, which goes to show that like it's literally people's projections of themselves. Like on different reels, somebody told me I was too fat, and then somebody told me I was too skinny. So I was like, oh, okay. But that just goes to show you can't please everybody either. But we got into this discussion because I don't even know, I was just kind of in a mood. I was feeling spicy, and we got into this back and forth in the comments. And he was saying, like, you know, you can't create fun videos. You need to post educational content. And I'm just thinking, what? One, who are you to tell me how to run my account? And two, like, this is social media. Like, it's just a space for people to share whatever they want. And he got really into it, like calling me out, like, oh, you only have an ISSA certification and this and that. And I'm like, listen, buddy, I've been a trainer for over 7 years and I've worked with a ton of people. And he's like, you need to do more than yoga. And I'm like, I do lift. But again, I don't need to explain my whole backstory to this guy, but I don't know, for some reason I thought it would help. And you know, it just got me thinking, like, why can't you have fun? Why are people against sharing a fun video? What is so wrong about making a video that's going to make people laugh, right? Or having fun? Why does everything have to be serious and educational? It doesn't. It doesn't. So that was another little message maybe from the universe of, like, why can't you have fun? So this was a little bit of a ramble, but I just thought this message needed to be shared. So wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, I want you to think about how you can incorporate more fun into your life. And maybe don't overthink it. You know, little ways to have fun throughout your day. This is a health and fitness channel, so think about how you can incorporate it into your routine. Maybe you try a fitness class, because maybe you're feeling kind of bored with your routine and you just want to throw in a group class, and it's a fun class like Zumba, or you're trying something different. And it may not directly contribute to your goals, but the benefit of it being fun and making you happy is great. Turn on some music and start dancing in your room, singing. Dance like a silly person. Belt out songs in the car, dance. There's so many ways you can have fun. And just, I recommend leaning into it. Own your silly, own your fun. All right? Well, and I think that's all I have for today, guys. So have a great rest of your day. Have some fun, and we'll chat soon.